What'd you think of Tevin Coleman? I mean, when I first heard that name, I was like, "Wow, they're going to go back to Tevin Coleman." They're really kind of scraping. But then I talked to him last week in the locker room, and I'll tell you, there's a real toughness about Tevin Coleman. That's a tough guy. I mean, you can kind of tell when you're talking to somebody who's a little bit tougher than the average guy. This guy's definitely he's tougher and smarter. Like when you start talking to him about the game plan, he's very in tune with the game plan. He's very in tune with what he needs to do within Kyle's offense. And there's a respect for him in the room that you can kind of feel. I think his locker right is right next to Danny Gray's, and you can kind of tell that there's a respect that Tevin commands. And then he goes out there and he made that catch down the sideline. I thought that was, you call that a 50-50 ball. He just went up, over the defender and took it away. He looked really comfortable running. He looked even maybe a half step quicker than I remember him looking. Maybe it's just because he's fresh. What'd you think of Coleman?
I think that, if you look it up on Wikipedia right now, David Tepper owns the Carolina Panthers, but I feel like Tevin Coleman has some sort of ownership stake because he scored last 2 games against them. And it just feels like he absolutely owns that entire franchise. It was incredible to watch, but it wasn't surprising. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Last year at the end of the season, somebody asked me who my comparison for Elijah Mitchell was. And I said, he is Tevin Coleman on a rookie contract. And I think that's a compliment. I think that he was somebody who he ran with that same kind of physicality. He took care of the football, and he was somebody that Kyle trusted to hand the ball off to 15, 16 times and have those, I know everybody got so enamored with those big home run runs with Breida and Mostert over the years. But one thing that Coleman always brought was ball security. And just like you said, he has this toughness and this physicality where he's maybe only picking up 4 here or 6 there. But over the course of the game, you can see it really wear down a defense. And he just runs with a bit of, just oomph that I feel like a lot of other players in the league don't have at that position, even as he's getting older and he has more years under his belt. He may not be the same explosive athlete he was that Super Bowl year in Atlanta, but he still has that like tenacity, and that just the way he finishes these runs off with that level of physicality is something that I think is very endearing with Kyle. And again, I think it's the 3rd time I've mentioned it. Ball security is so important for Kyle, and Tevin Coleman does not turn the football over. I don't think he had a single fumble that year in 2019 when he was effectively the starting running back, and he didn't again on Sunday. He just doesn't lose the football, and that goes a long way with Kyle, I think. So I would expect him to be in the fold going forward. Even when Mitchell does come back, I'd expect to see some 3-headed monster of him, Mitchell and Wilson going down the stretch.